The ANC Veterans League is hosting its third elective conference to elect a new leadership today at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg with Dr. Snuki Zikalala as the front runner. For more on this, we are now joined by SABC News reporter Nhlanhla Kgatlana. Nhlanhla, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. I don't know if you'll be able to tell us what transpired on day one of the conference, as today marks day two, and what's expected to happen.
Well, a very good day, Aldrin. Indeed, coming to you right here from Birchwood Hotel, where the ANC's Veterans League is holding its third national conference, where the leadership, the elders of the party, will elect its new leadership. Aldrin, yesterday the conference started on time with regards to ANC Secretary General opening the conference, also clarifying the issue of Tony Yengeni. In his statement there, Eldrin, touching about a lot of issues, also mentioning that, Eldrin, that, without the elders, the ANC is as good as dead, and saying that they'll continue, seeking wisdom from the elders. And on the issue of Tony Yengeni, saying that, Tony Yengeni remained to be a special guest, saying that he was not stopped from from coming here, but he'll come here at this conference on the first day and the last day as a special guest. But to talk to us with regards to what's going to be happening here is the ANC spokesperson, Mahlengi Bengu Ntsiri. Thank you so much for your time. I guess the question that I would love to pose to you is that in a short space of time, you guys managed to hold 3 important conferences, and we know a couple of months ago you guys were going through serious issues of finances.
Almost unprecedented, I may say, but it also tells you about the strive to revive and rebuild. It is also a function of ordinary members of the ANC, supporters of the ANC in this country and elsewhere, who yearn for the ANC to consolidate itself so that it can continue championing the interests of the people, particularly the poor and the poorest of the poor in our country. It's a function of discipline, that organizational discipline that is being revived. If we look at this Veterans League conference, the third national conference of the Veterans League, absolutely amazing, the extent of organizational discipline that is being displayed here. We are should be taking a leaf from our elders, just in terms of how they're managing their business. Everything starting on time. Right now, the organizational report has just been presented. The political report was presented yesterday. This morning, rules of conference, credentials of conference adopted in less than a few minutes, speaks to cohesion, speaks to an organization that is hard at work.
Yesterday, when the Secretary General of the party spoke, he reiterated his statement that come December, load shedding will be a thing of the past, saying that that's not a campaigning slogan, that you guys will be doing it because you are in government. A lot of people say that we'll see, if that is possible.
I think some fair skepticism is not a problem. But I do think that the SG was reiterating the position of the National Executive Committee of the ANC on behalf of its members, that we do want to do away with load shedding in South Africa. I have always been saying that I'm not loyal to a particular end date, but you can already see, even today, if we look at the outlook that we got from Eskom, points to a lot of work that's being done to reduce the load shedding stages. And so I think our message has been consistent, and we hope to keep it that way.
Coming back to the conference, on Thursday, you guys held a media briefing talking about the state of readiness to hold this conference. It started yesterday. But a lot of people needed clarity with regards to when you mentioned during that conference, you said 2 provinces were invited and were not going to participate in voting. Can you elaborate further on that?
Because, there are rules of conference and there are processes, the rules that are set out when you're putting together a conference in the ANC. And anyone who participates as a voting delegate, for example, have got to have, reached that particular standard and the required threshold. And there should have been a process in that particular province that satisfies the audit requirements. And so for that basis, it was decided then that those 2 provinces should be invited, should not be denied the opportunity to participate, but it would be remiss of the ANC Veterans League to have different rules that don't apply across the board. So it's a simple thing of that nature. Post this very successful, I can say without any equivocation, that the Veterans League Conference is a lesson for how to really organize our house in order. And so post this conference, in terms of the provinces that you are referring to, this new leadership that is about to be elected today would obviously have a responsibility to then go out and make sure that those two provinces are in good standing in every measure in terms of the criteria that is set by the Veterans League itself.
Which are those conferences?
Pardon?
What are those conferences?
No, I'm referring to now to your question, and your question is about the fact that they can't vote here because the audit that was conducted suggested that it will be remiss to then allow those provinces to vote. But having said that, the conference meets the threshold by far. So in other words, it is a conference in good standing.
Where to from here? Just take us through what's going to be happening throughout the day.
So what is going to happen now is we've just had the organizational report being presented by Comrade Susan Shabang, one of our veterans, and it is currently under discussions, being put under the scalpel. After that has happened, we're now going to then move on to take nominations for national officials of the Veterans League, and that is going to be open to the media. Once that's done, the counting begins, but then the business of conference in a closed session continues. Presentation of the financial report. Actually, that's the only report that is now outstanding, which is again is unprecedented. Second day of conference, we've dispensed with the reports. After that, we'll go into policy discussions on coalitions, discussions on issues of renewal and unity, building within the ANC and within the Veterans League. All of those things are going to be happening throughout the day. So there's enough time for policy discussions at this conference, and that is what is going to be happening today. Later in the afternoon, process of opening nominations for additional members of the Veterans League NEC will ensue, and that will be followed by the voting process. By the time this conference ends tomorrow, we are confident that all of what is in the agenda would have been dispensed with. Yeah.
On the issues of coalitions, we had the convener of the ANC Veterans League not shying away from that they wouldn't like ANC to work with the EFF.
Well, that is the perspective of the Veterans League. The ANC has put out its own coalitions framework document. Veterans, like other leagues, they are constitutional organs of the ANC, but they do have their own independent voice. And they deposit their ideas into the body of thinking within the ANC. And so I think we look at their perspective just from that. And the voice of the Veterans League is very important in the ANC because these are the elders. These are the people who are very jealous in guarding the traditions and the legacy of the African National Congress. And so we're also here to take in what is being said. And I say now, speaking in my capacity also as a member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC.
Is the position of the Veterans League president still uncontested?
I'm not in a position to say that. We are about to establish whether that is the case, and I'm happy to answer the question after the processes of nominations have been concluded.
Thank you so much. Well, Aldrin, that was the ANC spokesperson there, talking about various issues, saying that this conference is in good standing, can take place. We know that this conference tomorrow, it will be closed by the ANC's President Cyril Ramaphosa. With that being said, Aldrin, as we continue with our work here,